Thanks for being here. Subscribe to Cheating Stories Best, so you don't miss new stories.
I paused for a moment, trying to lean casually against the stone-tiled column, watching the holiday crowd as carefully as I could without being obvious. Clueless shoppers streamed past me, engrossed in their overpriced coffees and endless streams of text messages. The familiar weight of my concealed sidearm pressed against my ribs, a comforting presence after weeks in Dubai, where I'd had to rely solely on my wits and hand-to-hand skills. Not that those skills had atrophied. If anything, that high-stakes cybersecurity job had honed my situational awareness to a razor's edge. I moved another 6 feet and slipped into a seat at one of the food court tables. I pulled an empty soda cup in front of me, so I'd look like I had a reason to be there, any reason other than trying to process what I just learned. The cold fury running through my veins made it hard to keep still, but years of training allowed me to maintain the outward appearance of calm. Everything had gone wrong, but I'd left at least one of them dead. Maybe two. My wife, Veronica, and her lover, Jonathan Blackwell, the notorious arms dealer known as the Phantom. Just thinking their names made my jaw clench. Someone must have forgotten that I'd been a Navy SEAL long before I ever climbed the ladder in cybersecurity. A damn good one, too. I'd left more than my share of enemies in the dirt. Now it looked like I might need to add 2 more names to that list. If they were really trying to kill me, they'd been sloppy. Arms dealers and their lackeys don't usually start shooting without verifying their target, especially not a former SEAL turned cyber warfare specialist. I pulled out the cheap, pay-by-the-minute smartphone I'd bought at a mall kiosk. I doubted the guy who sold it to me believed my story about a computer crash at my bank, but $200 in cash had gotten me an anonymous phone in under 3 hours. A time window he probably reported up his chain, and I didn't blame him. He could tell something was off. And I doubted an obviously recent Middle Eastern immigrant wanted to be caught up in anything suspicious. Let him call. It didn't matter. The 3 hours of talk time I'd purchased were probably overkill. I doubted I would need even half that. I fished a torn scrap of a business card from my wallet and punched the number into the burner phone. K2 Executive Services. The voice was clipped, female, professional. I need help, I said, keeping my voice even and calm. My wife is trying to kill me. There was a click. The call ended. I slumped forward, eyes closed. Damn it. I didn't even know where to go next. This might be it. I might have to take them both out myself. Consequences be damned. My phone buzzed in my hand. A text from an unknown number. Just an internet link. Nothing to lose, I thought. I tapped the link. Downloading app. A few long seconds later, a stylized K2 icon appeared. I pressed it. The phone dialed. The voice that answered was distorted, almost submerged, as if the speaker were underwater. Some kind of scrambler code. Please hold your phone at arm's length and look into the screen. I followed the instructions. The screen pulsed and flashed. It snapped a quick photo, unflattering. My face looked gray, but then again, so would anyone who had just found out their wife was trying to have them killed. The voice returned. Name, please. Dominic Thorne. A pause. Long enough for me to feel her scanning databases I'd rather not be in. Your operational status? Armed. Uninjured. In need of immediate assistance. What is the nature of your situation? My wife is involved with an arms dealer named Jonathan Blackwell. They've been selling classified data I had access to. I need to neutralize the threat. Please hold. The hold music was, of all things, the girl from Ipanema. I stared at the phone in disbelief. Then, the voice returned. Thank you for waiting. We have an asset available in your area. Move to the south entrance of the mall and wait near the men's restroom. The contractor will arrive within 30 minutes. I may not have 30 minutes. They could be closing in. The contractor will arrange for immediate extraction if the situation escalates. Do you require medical assistance? Negative. I'm combat ready. The line disconnected. I stood, took a breath, and began to walk as naturally as I could. Just another holiday shopper blending into the crowd. The south entrance was a quarter-mile away, and the mall was packed. No signs of pursuit. Good. Still, I didn't relax. I knew better. I passed clothing stores, shoe stores, overpriced chain restaurants. It took nearly 20 minutes, but I was nearly there. The sign for the restroom came into view. I was 10 steps away, almost shaking with anticipation, when a hand gripped my right elbow, tight. A family with 4 kids in bright, bulky coats passed in front of me, the parents bribing them with promises of hot chocolate. Keep moving, Mr. Thorne. There was an accent, Eastern European, maybe Russian. I turned my head slightly. He wore a black suit, black wool overcoat. He let me see the subcompact automatic tucked inside his coat. It took me a moment, but I recognized him. He'd been at the ambush outside my house. "It's Dominic," I said evenly. "Very well, Dominic. Please keep moving. I would rather not do this in front of all these children, but I will, if you force me." We walked past a teenage girl, pipe cleaner thin, bundled in a dark coat with a bright purple backpack and a light purple crew cap. She was absorbed in her phone, completely unaware. "You caught up faster than I expected." Facial recognition programs in bridge security cameras. We had them in this area months ago for another operation. Pure luck they were still active. "I saw your car in the lot." A family struggled past us. 2 screaming toddlers. Too many civilians. Even if I were in peak condition, there were too many eyes, too many risks. "Lucky me," I muttered. He shrugged with polite indifference. "Those are the breaks." Too polite for a hired killer. Too careful. But I still wasn't ready to make a move. He steered me into a utility corridor opposite the restroom. We walked in silence until we reached a corner. He pushed me around it and drew the gun. A clang echoed through the tiled hallway, deep and metallic. He staggered forward, then collapsed. The girl in the purple cap stood behind him, holding an oversized crescent wrench like it was part of her anatomy. Her face was blank, her stance professional. She glanced at me, then down at him. With surgical precision, she checked his breathing and pupils. Then she picked up the gun, cleared it, and tucked it into her backpack. The wrench followed. She pulled his wallet from his coat, sealed it in a silvery envelope. His phone, battery first into the trash, then followed the wallet. She turned to me and held out her hand, face unreadable. "Come with me if you want to live." I stared at her. Then she smirked. Her eyes sparkled. "I've always wanted to say that." "Let's see the damage." "Any injuries?" "No injuries," I replied coldly, my voice like steel. "Just a burning desire for payback." Delaney reached into her backpack and pulled out a compact first aid kit. "Good. We might need you at full capacity. I'm your K2 contact. Call me Delaney." "Pleasure." She nodded toward the exit. "Now, can we get the hell out of here before more of Blackwell's goons show up?" A grim smile played at the corners of her lips. "Oh, we're going to do more than that. We're going to take the fight to them." As we made our way out of the mall, I filled Delaney in on everything. Veronica's betrayal, the classified data leaks, the attempt on my life. With every revelation, I saw a flicker of something dangerous ignite in her eyes, a cold fury that matched my own. "So, what's the plan?" she asked as we reached a nondescript black sedan tucked in the corner of the parking garage. I slid into the passenger seat, my mind already racing. "First, we secure the rest of the evidence. I have a hidden office at home. Encrypted files, surveillance logs, names, transfers. Once that's safe, we go after them. No mercy, no quarter." Delaney's grin turned feral as she started the car. "I like the way you think, Dominic. Let's make them regret ever crossing you." As we pulled out of the parking structure, a cold, focused sense of purpose settled over me. Veronica and Blackwell had made a fatal mistake. They thought I would fold, but they had forgotten who I was. Now, they would pay. The drive to my house was tense. Every parked car, every dark alley a potential threat. But Delaney drove like someone born behind the wheel. Her eyes scanned constantly, reading the landscape with tactical precision. When we turned onto my street, I spotted the sleek Aston Martin still sitting in the driveway. "Nice car," I muttered, voice dripping with sarcasm. Delaney glanced at it, her eyes narrowing. "Gift from a friend, I take it?" I nodded, jaw tight. Veronica's new toy from Blackwell. Guess he likes to keep his assets happy. We parked a block away and approached the house on foot, using shadows and neighbor fences for cover. As we crept up, I spotted Veronica pacing inside, phone glued to her ear. Her silhouette through the window was agitated, frantic. "Looks like someone's getting antsy," Delaney murmured. "What's our play?" I watched the house, thinking quickly. "We need that data. I'll create a distraction and draw her out. You slip in, grab the files from my office. Hidden panel in the study, third bookshelf on the left. War and Peace triggers the lock." Delaney nodded sharply. "And if she gets in my way?" "Do what you have to," I said, voice low and cold. "But leave her breathing. I want answers before this is over." Without another word, Delaney melted into the night, a wraith in tactical gear. I drew a breath, steadied my pulse, and walked to the front door. I rang the bell. The look on Veronica's face when she opened the door was almost comical. Shock, then confusion, then fear. Dominic, but how? I pushed past her into the house, scanning for threats. Surprised to see me alive, darling? Sorry to disappoint. Her shock flickered into faux concern. Dominic, thank God you're all right. I've been so worried ever since I heard. Save it. My voice cut like ice. I know everything, Veronica. About Blackwell. About the classified intel. You betrayed me. You betrayed your country. Her face paled, the mask slipping. You don't understand, Jonathan, Jonathan, I spat the name like poison. First name basis with the arms dealer now, are we? How thoughtful of him to buy you that new car. I'm sure it wasn't a thank you gift for selling out your husband. Her eyes darted around, looking for an escape route. Please, let me explain. You don't know what you're getting into. Jonathan has resources. He'll kill us both. I took a step forward, my voice dropping to a threat-laced growl. I've faced worse, and I'm not alone in this. A muffled thud echoed from upstairs. Veronica's head snapped toward the sound. What was that? Is someone else here? I grabbed her wrist before she could move. Doesn't matter. You're not going anywhere. As if on cue, Delaney appeared at the top of the stairs, holding a small external hard drive in one hand. Got it. We should move. Veronica's eyes widened in disbelief. You're the girl from the mall. Who are you? What are you doing in my house? Delaney ignored her. Perimeter's still clear, but we should not push our luck. She looked at me. What do you want to do with her? I didn't answer immediately. My gaze locked on Veronica, trembling now, her perfect image crumbling. She's coming with us, I said flatly. Blackwell will be hunting her too, and I want every last detail before he gets the chance. Dominic, please, she pleaded, voice cracking. You don't know what you're doing. Jonathan will kill us all. I tightened my grip on her arm. He can try, but first, you're going to tell me everything, every name, every deal, every dirty little secret. And God help you if I think you're lying. We hustled her out to the car. The fear in her eyes told me the truth was finally catching up. The woman I loved, the life we'd built, it had all been a lie. But I pushed those thoughts aside. There'd be time for regret later. Right now, I had a mission. Delaney took the wheel again, her expression focused. In the back seat, Veronica sat silently, face pale and drawn, her hands clenched in her lap. I kept my eyes on the rearview mirror, scanning for pursuit. Where are we going? She asked, her voice barely audible. Somewhere safe, I replied without turning. Somewhere Blackwell won't find us until we're ready for him. As the city lights faded behind us, a grim satisfaction settled into my bones. The rules had changed, and now I was the one calling the shots. They had no idea what was coming for them, and I intended to keep it that way until it was too late for them to stop it. The road stretched out before us, dark and full of promise. Whatever came next, I was ready. They had tried to destroy me, to take everything I had built. Now it was my turn, and I would show no mercy. I leaned against the wall of the safe house, my eyes never leaving Veronica as she paced the small room like a caged animal. The past 24 hours had been a whirlwind of betrayal, violence, and cold calculation. And now, in the stark light of morning, I could see the toll it had taken on her. Good. Let her feel a fraction of the pain she'd caused. You can't keep me here forever, Dominic, she snapped, her earlier pleas for understanding replaced by venom. I didn't respond. Instead, I turned my attention to the security monitors I had set up. The safe house was a fortress, multiple layers of defense, every entrance covered. If Blackwell's men somehow found us, they'd walk into a war zone. Delaney's voice crackled over the comm unit. Perimeter's clear. No movement within a 5 km are slippery. I could feel Veronica's eyes burning into my back. When I finally looked at her, the hatred there was unmistakable. You have no idea what you're up against, Dominic, she hissed. Jonathan will find us, and when he does, he'll wish he'd never heard the name Dominic Thorne. I cut her off, voice like ice. Your boyfriend made a fatal mistake when he used my wife to get to me. And you, I let out a bitter laugh. You're even more of a fool for going along with it. Her face twisted in fury. You arrogant stupid. You think you're better than everyone else. Always the big hero, the perfect soldier. Did it ever occur to you that maybe I wanted more than being a trophy wife to a man who cared more about his work than his marriage? A flicker of anger stirred in me, but I suppressed it. So you decided to sell out your country? To get in bed with a man who profits from war and death? I stepped forward. Was it worth it, Veronica? Was the money, The thrill, worth throwing away everything we built together? For a split second, I saw doubt in her eyes. Then it vanished, replaced by cold defiance. You don't understand, she said, voice tight. Jonathan offered me real power. Not just standing behind you. And the information we sold, it was going to make a difference in the world. I barked a humorless laugh. Oh, I'm sure it would have made a difference. More weapons in the hands of warlords. More innocent people dead. You're delusional if you think Blackwell cares about anything besides lining his pockets. Before she could respond, my phone buzzed. A text. Encrypted. I recognized the signature immediately, my contact on the task force. We have a location on Blackwell. Private island. Arms deal going down in 48 hours. Adrenaline surged through me. This was it. I looked back at Veronica, a cold smile tugging at the corner of my mouth. Looks like your boyfriend's luck just ran out. Her eyes widened. Dominic, please. You don't have to do this. I'll tell you everything I know. Just don't go after him. Jonathan will kill you. I stepped closer, voice low and dangerous. No, Veronica. He'll try. And he'll fail. And when it's over, you'll both rot in a cell for the rest of your miserable lives. I turned away, already mentally gearing up for the mission ahead. Veronica's desperate voice faded behind me like a fading echo. There was no room for hesitation now. No place for mercy. Blackwell had to be stopped, and I was going to be the one to do it. The hours blurred into tactical prep. Weapons were cleaned and loaded, comms tested, routes mapped. We studied every inch of the compound's layout, every known weakness and pattern of patrol. The task force assembled quickly, an elite team pulled from multiple agencies, all with one common goal: dismantle Jonathan Blackwell's empire. As night fell, I conducted one last sweep of the safe house. Veronica sat on the couch in silence, all fight drained from her. I looked at her with nothing but detachment. She was no longer the woman I'd once loved. She was a traitor, a pawn who thought she was a queen. I'm leaving, I said flatly. When this is over, the authorities will come for you. I suggest you start thinking about how to save what's left of your life. She looked up, eyes red-rimmed and hollow. Dominic. I'm sorry. For everything. I paused at the door, not bothering to turn around. Save it for the judge. Your apologies mean nothing to me. With that, I stepped into the night, leaving the ashes of my old life behind. The journey to Blackwell's Island was executed with surgical precision. Under cover of darkness, our team approached in a custom-modified submersible, its engines whisper quiet, slicing through the inky water like a ghost. The weight of my gear felt right. Familiar. Like armor forged from purpose. As we neared the shoreline, I signaled the team. We surfaced, one by one, emerging like wraiths from the dark. The island rose before us, a jagged silhouette against the starlit sky. Alpha team, sound off, I whispered. For clicks. All accounted for. Bravo team, status? In position. Overwatch confirmed. Snipers were already set, rifles trained on entry points across the compound. I inhaled slowly, steadying myself. This was more than vengeance. This was justice. Remember, I said, voice barely above a breath, Blackwell is the primary target. We want him alive if possible, but do not take unnecessary risks. Anyone else is expendable. Clear. A soft chorus of affirmatives answered back. All right, I said. Let's move. We advanced silently through the jungle, senses sharpened to a razor's edge. Each rustle of leaves, each chirp of a night bird made our muscles tense, ready to strike. At the edge of the compound's perimeter, I raised a fist. Ahead was the first obstacle, a high wall topped with razor wire, patrolled by guards. I tapped my comm twice, Bravo signal. Two soft cracks split the air, so faint they could have been branches snapping. The guards dropped instantly, their bodies caught and lowered silently to the ground. Clear, came the whisper. We scaled the wall with practiced ease and split into two teams, each heading for pre-designated breach points. Martinez, a former Delta Force operator, moved beside me. We crept to a side entrance, and in seconds, his bypass tool had the door open. Inside, the cool air was a stark contrast to the muggy heat outside. I signaled for Martinez to take point. We moved through the compound like a shadow. The intel was solid. Every corner, every turn, exactly as we had planned. Voices echoed ahead. Multiple languages. Glasses clinking. The arms deal was in full swing. I tapped my comm 3 times, breach code. Within seconds, the team was in position. I closed my eyes briefly. This was it. On my mark, I whispered. 3, 2, 1, execute. The world exploded. Flashbangs detonated. Blinding light and thunderous noise swallowed the room. And the mission to end Blackwell's empire began. We burst in, weapons raised, shouting commands in multiple languages. FBI, on the ground now. Interpol, hands where we can see them. The room exploded into chaos. Most of the arms buyers dropped immediately, stunned by the sudden assault. A few tried to resist, reaching for weapons, diving behind cover, but they were quickly and decisively subdued. In the middle of it all, I scanned the room for one face. Jonathan Blackwell. There, near the back. He was already moving, trying to slip away through the confusion. Not this time, you an idiot. I charged forward, dodging panicked traffickers and upturned furniture. Blackwell saw me. Recognition flashed in his eyes, then fear. He turned to run, but I was faster. I slammed into him, driving him to the floor with every ounce of fury I had left. He landed hard, but still fought. An elbow slammed into my wrist, but adrenaline dulled the pain. It's over, Blackwell, I growled, pinning him to the cold marble. You're done. He thrashed, cursing in 3 different languages, but I wrenched his arms behind his back and cuffed him, harder than necessary, and I didn't care. As I hauled him upright, I leaned in close, my voice a whisper meant only for him. You made a mistake coming after me and my family. I hope it was worth it. His wide eyes told me everything. He had underestimated me. Thought I was just another name to cross off. Now he understood, and it terrified him. I shoved him toward Martinez, who took custody. Around us, our team was sweeping the rest of the compound, securing buyers, seizing tech, gathering evidence. The operation was a resounding success. As the adrenaline finally began to ebb, I paused to survey the scene. Years of quiet surveillance, months of betrayal, days of personal torment, and it had all led to this. Blackwell's empire crushed. His buyers cuffed, his network exposed, and I felt no elation, only a cold, steady sense of justice. I keyed my comm. This is Alpha 1. Target secured. I repeat, Blackwell is in custody. Operation successful. Copy that, Alpha 1, came the response. Excellent work. Extraction team inbound. Secure the site and prepare for debrief. I turned back to the compound. There was still work to be done, but the hardest part was over. Blackwell was finished, and soon, Veronica would face her own reckoning. We moved quickly, prisoners and operatives loaded onto extraction helicopters as dawn crept over the horizon. I stood by the door, watching Blackwell's island fade into the distance, knowing it would soon be crawling with analysts and forensic teams, tearing his operation apart piece by piece. The flight back was a blur. A post-mission adrenaline crash hit hard, but I managed a few minutes of restless sleep. When we touched down at the secure military facility, I was already back in motion. Blackwell was whisked off for interrogation. I wasn't allowed in. Too close, too personal. That was fine. I had other business to handle. I headed to the command center, where the task force leadership was already assembling. Heads turned as I entered, some with respect, others with something closer to awe. Good. Let them see what happens when you cross the wrong man. Thorne, said the lead agent. Harding, a weathered veteran with a voice like gravel. Hell of a job out there. Preliminary reports say we've got enough to put Blackwell away for several lifetimes. Not to mention his buyers. I gave him a small nod. Good. What about stateside? Any movement on Veronica? Harding's expression darkened. We've got a team en route to the safe house now. She'll be in custody within the hour. I felt a slow burn of satisfaction. I want to be there when they bring her in. Harding looked like he was going to object, but something in my eyes must have changed his mind. All right, but you're strictly hands off. You've done your part. Let the system handle the rest. I didn't reply. We both knew the system could be flawed, twisted by power and money. But Veronica would face justice, one way or another. The drive to the safe house dragged like molasses. By the time we arrived, FBI and local agents had already secured the perimeter. I stepped out of the SUV, muscles sore, body battered, but mind sharp as ever. The front door opened. 2 agents emerged with Veronica between them, her hands cuffed behind her back. She looked small, defeated, a far cry from the confident woman I had once loved. When she saw me, her eyes widened, part fear, part resignation. I stopped a few feet away. My voice was flat, detached. It's over, Veronica. Blackwell's in custody. His entire operation is gone. She didn't respond at first, just stared at me with hollow eyes. Finally, she spoke. What happens now? Now, I said coldly, you face the consequences of your actions. Treason, espionage, conspiracy. I hope it was worth it. Her shoulders sagged. Dominic, I save it. I cut her off. I don't want to hear your excuses or your apologies. You made your choice. Now live with it. I turned away. I couldn't look at her any longer. As they led her toward the waiting car, I heard her call out one last time. Dominic, please. I'm sorry for everything. I didn't turn back. Her words meant nothing. The woman I had loved, the life we had built, it was all ashes, burned down by her betrayal. I watched the vehicle disappear into the distance, and I felt lighter. Harding joined me, hands on his hips. You did good, Thorne, he said. Not many could have pulled this off. I nodded. What's next? Harding raised an eyebrow. Next? Paperwork. A mountain of it. And then I'd suggest a long vacation. I shook my head. I don't need a vacation. I need to get back to work. Harding studied me for a moment, then gave a small nod. All right, but take a breath, Thorne. It's been one hell of a ride. As he walked away, I stood there, watching the sun climb higher over the horizon. Process it. There was nothing to process. I had done what needed to be done. Veronica and Blackwell had made their choices, and now they would live with the consequences. The following weeks passed in a blur, debriefings, courtroom appearances, endless meetings with lawyers. I submitted every shred of evidence I had against Veronica, ensuring that no loophole would let her walk free. The divorce was swift, brutal. I made certain she wouldn't see a single dime of what we built. Throughout it all, I stayed focused, clear-eyed, no regrets. They had brought this on themselves, and I was already looking ahead. Months passed. The world began to move on. The headlines faded. The analysts and agents finished their reports. But I remained sharpened, cold, precise, and ready. The betrayal had left scars, but it had also freed me. No more lies. No more secrets. Just the mission, the work, the cause. I was a weapon again, and I was ready for whatever came next. I found myself in a new apartment in Rome. The Eternal City, a fitting backdrop for this new chapter of my life. The events of the past year had changed me, hardened me in ways I was still discovering. But in the quiet moments, I had also found a strange sort of peace. A clarity I never thought I'd experience again. It was a quiet evening when the secure line rang, the one I kept solely for official business. I answered without hesitation. Thorne. The voice on the other end was familiar. My handler. Agency liaison. The only constant in a life that had become anything but. We've got a situation brewing in Buenos Aires, he said. Need someone with your particular skill set. You interested? I felt the old spark rise, the familiar pull of a new mission, a new fight worth having. Details. Classified. Need to know basis only. But I can tell you this, it's big. Potentially bigger than Blackwell. I didn't hesitate. I'm in. When do I leave? Wheels up in 6 hours. Car's on its way. I hung up and began to pack my go bag with practiced efficiency. As I zipped it shut, I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror. The man staring back at me wasn't the same one who'd stumbled into a nightmare of betrayal and deceit all those months ago. He was sharper, colder, but also more focused, more certain of his purpose in this world. I wasn't burdened by secrets anymore. No more illusions. No more lies. Veronica's betrayal had carved something open in me, but it had also set me free. Now, I lived on my own terms. A warrior. A protector. A force to be reckoned with. As the private jet climbed into the night sky over Rome, I sat back in my seat, a small, determined smile playing at the corners of my mouth. The game was afoot once more, and this time, I was playing for keeps. Veronica's lies. Blackwell's betrayal. Their attempt to destroy me, it was the past. I had emerged from that fire sharper, stronger, and more resolved than ever. And now, the future stretched out before me, wide open, filled with danger, yes, but also with promise. Whatever waited in Buenos Aires. I was ready.